Welcome back to another tutorial brought to you by ACM. Today we're going to be talking about Sublime Text, how to use it to program on a remote server, and why it is the best text editor that you could ever get. So Sublime Text is just a text editor used for programming languages like Python and Ruby. Technically you can program anything in it if you're familiar with VS Code or Notepad++. This is just another alternative to one of those. I've been using Sublime Text for many years now, and it's personally my favorite. So if you haven't ever used it and you don't have a text editor of choice, go ahead and give it a shot. If you want to program on remote servers and don't want to figure it out for VS Code, Notepad++, or whatever you use, then go ahead and download it and use it for this case. So you just go to sublimetext.com. This is Sublime Text 3. If you want to read all their cool features and whatnot, you can do that. Otherwise, just go ahead and download it for Windows, and then run through the installer. I already have it installed, but it's fairly simple. All you have to do is just go through, next, it'll install stuff. It's not going to install stuff for me because I'm a dev user, but yeah, just go through the installer and it'll install it. Once you have that installed, you're going to go ahead and open that up, so Sublime Text 3. And this is what pops up right here, the beautiful Sublime Text editor. Then what we're going to do is we're going to install SFTP. If you're familiar with FTP, that is the File Transfer Protocol. And I believe the S just stands for Secure File Transfer Protocol, but I'm not actually sure. But essentially we can install an SFTP client on Sublime Text because Sublime Text is awesome. So what you're going to do is when you're here, you're going to do Control-Shift-P, and that'll bring up this little thing right here. You can see that on the Codex website for SFTP, Control-Shift-P. And then you're going to type install, and that's going to bring up install package control. We'll hit enter. That was installed. Fantastic. We're going to do Control-Shift-P again, and now you see install package. So we're going to install a package. We're going to wait for it to pull up all the repositories, and we're going to search for SFTP. There's a couple different options. If you're familiar with FileZilla, it's the same concept. We're just going to go with the first one that's just a raw SFTP client. And then you get this beautiful page right here, which explains to you how everything works and why it's beautiful and whatnot. So we can just close that. Next thing you're going to do is we're going to start a new project. Ooh, this is nice. We're going to start a new project, say right here. We're going to create this new folder. Maybe we'll GitHub it. Oh, open GitHub. GitHub? What? Open a terminal. And the first thing I guess that we're going to do is we're going to log into the remote servers. So I'm going to log into the ACM Pi just because it's easier. So we're going to SSH if you're not familiar with that. And the user is ACM. And then this is the IP address. Need a little @ symbol right here. And then say yes. This is just saying, do you want to authenticate? Make sure like you're the cool person. Yeah, whatever. Password. Cool, and then now we're logged into the remote server. Fantastic. If we type ls, this will list all the files and directories here. We have a couple files and directories. I think I'm probably just gonna make a new one because it'll make life easier. So I'm gonna make a new directory, mkdir SFTP demo. Okay, I'm gonna change into that directory. SFTP demo, and then I'm going to make some new files, hello and world. So that'll make two files, one named hello, one named world. Probably should have given them file extensions, but that's okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go over to Sublime. We're going to click File, we're going to go down to SFTP, and we're going to, I believe we just set up a server. Okay, this is your type. SFTP is perfect. Sync down on page. All this you can play with later. The host is going to be the IP address that we connected with. So that's going to be this IP address right here. The username was ACM. The password I'm not going to put in here. I'm just going to type it in instead. And then the path that we're going to use is going to be whatever path this file is in, or this directory is in. So I'm going to type pwd, and this says print working directory, and that's my path right there. And then we're going to go like that. paste that right in there, and everything else should be fine, so we're going to save that. And we can save this right here, and we can call this ACM server. And that'll save us our configuration. It's prompting me for my password down here, so I'll just type in the password, and then hopefully it'll connect. Now I actually have access to the folder, as you can see. So I can go up a folder, and then I can see this is all my cool stuff. I have Macwood, Rails app, ACM, it's perfect. And then I can say, go back into my SFTP demo, and then hello, and then edit. And then I can edit it. So I can say, hello, and then save it, and it'll upload it in the background, and it's perfect. So that is how you work on a server just remotely, and so then every time you want to re-access that server, you can then double click or click on ACM server, and then you can get access to that file system. So I could open world, for instance, edit that, and then say the same thing, world. So that's one way to go about this. If we go back to here and we type cat hello, we should see hello, and if we type cat world, we should see world. And the reason it's showing up there is because I have no new lines, so if we wanted to actually just see those normally, we could just type nano to open it in text editor. But cat is for concatenate. It'll just print out all the contents of the file to the terminal, so we don't have to open stuff. So that's how you do it like that. The next way you can go about doing this is you can actually create a folder locally and sync things between them. So I'm going to create a folder here, and I'm going to call it SFTP demo. And I'm going to drag and drop that folder into Sublime Text, and it opens a nice little directory over here, which is empty. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click that SFTP map to a remote, and this is the same concept. So SFTP, yep, no problem. And then I'm going to say not save before upload, not upload on save. That's the one I'm going to do. So every time I save a file, it's going to upload it. And I'm like, that's perfect. All the rest are default. Not going to worry about those really. I'm going to go back up here again. Going to copy that host address. Copy that. Username is ACM. Whatever path word. And then path is going to be that same path that I just got. Print working directory. And then all the rest should be fine. You can mess with those as you want, but I'm going to leave them default. And then now I can click here and I can say SFTP, and I have a lot more options. And I'm going to say sync remote to local. So I'm going to download all the changes. Perform, yep. And so it's going to go ahead and download those two files. And as we see now, I should have both those files and our config file for JSON. That's to keep your credentials open so that it remembers what the server is. But I have my files here now. So now if I edit one of these files and say goodbye, and then I save it, you'll notice in the bottom it uploads it real quickly and goes away. So then if we now cat hello again, it says goodbye. So now it's uploading on save. If you want and you didn't want to use the upload on save, that's perfectly fine. There's some commands and controls here as usage. You can just leave it as the default, Control Alt U F. I don't actually know what this means. Maybe it means like U or F. I'm not really sure. What if I did Control Alt U? Control Alt U. Control Alt U. I don't know what that does. Oh, you have to do Control Alt U and F. That's weird. So yeah, you can do it like that, and you can mess around with those, or you can just use the save. I like to do it on the save because I always save things. But yeah, that's how you go ahead and do it through Sublime Text. This is probably the way I'm going to be doing things for the most part on the server, just because it's quick, it's easy. In the past, I was using GitHub, which is great, and it's fantastic, and it works really quickly. It's just a little bit annoying for development. But I'll probably give a tutorial on that anyways, just so that people can get familiar with GitHub. This is Nick. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed the, beautiful lo-fi.